Hey everyone, back tuning into today's video. We're going to have a bit of a look ahead at May and possibly a little bit of a look at June as well in today's video. See what may be happening. This isn't the official May forecast. I'll probably do that on Bank Holiday Monday. We're just going to have a bit of a speculative look at some of the long range charts. Now, before I get on with the update, just want to talk about the advertising. There's video ads on my pages at GazWeatherViz.com. If you press play on the video ad, you'll be supporting GazWeatherViz.com. Thanks so much for doing that. Also, there's a content tab which are links to articles. There's some very interesting articles in there as well. If I browse through, there are some interesting articles. So if there's any article that you're interested in, just click through. You have to go off and read the article. Same time, GazWeatherViz is going to royalty fee on what you're doing. Thanks so much for doing that. It does make a big difference. The website helps. Pay for website helps for me to sit here and talk to you via the website. So thanks for getting involved and supporting GazWeatherViz.com. So we've got Central England temperature in now for April. It's no longer provisional. This is the Central England temperature for April. We come out at 10.2 degrees, which is an anomaly of 2.3 degrees above average, continuing the trend throughout 2014 so far of having monthly anomalies running somewhere around 2 degrees above average. January 5.7, which is anomaly 1.9, February 6.2, anomaly of 2.4, March an anomaly of 2.0, comes out at 7.6. So again, we're running around 2 degrees. I've explained this in other videos, 2 degrees above average for just about all months so far this year. And interestingly, the very first day of May comes out at 11.9, which again is an anomaly of around 2.5 degrees above average. That's just for the first day of the month. It is likely to come down a little bit actually over the next few days, that anomaly, because we're going to get some pretty cold nights, particularly tonight. This is tonight's chart from the GFS model, and a widespread frost setting in. Could be seeing temperatures as low as -2, -3 degrees in some rural locations. That's a very, very cold night for early May. So if you've got any delicate plants out or fruit blossom that you're concerned about, do cover up your tender plants and your fruit blossom, because yeah, it's going to be a pretty cold night for the time of year. I don't think these cold nights are going to last too long. We should see the temperatures lifting up actually as we go through the bank holiday weekend. I think it will be turning a little bit less cold. So let's have a look at the JMA month ahead forecast. It is of course JMA Friday, so we've got the latest update from the Japanese model. This will be taking us throughout May actually. It'll be taking us right up to the end of the month. So this is kind of the anomaly that we're going to be seeing for the whole of the coming month. So we'll deal with the first weekly period first of all. What you need to know is that the British Isles is just here. We're upside down on this chart. Yellow colours at 500 millibars indicating below average heights. That's high pressure. Blue colours indicating below average heights at 500 millibars. That's high pressure. So yeah, we've got high pressure sitting to the southwest of the country. We've got low pressure up to the east and to the northeast of the country. The jet stream generally going north of that area of high pressure, and the air would be coming up something like that. So it's a pretty mild sort of air mass. Could be a little bit more unsettled for the north, always more settled down to the south and the southwest, but it's not bad actually. It would be a fairly mild first week to May. Now going through to the second weekly period, which will take us into the second week of May, of course, where we see then the trough of low pressure setting up out to the west of the country in the central part of the Atlantic. High pressure building just to the east. The jet stream is going around that trough, and between the trough and ridge it's coming up something like that. So actually that's quite a warm sort of looking signal for the second week of May. I think we'll be bringing up quite a lot of southerly influences with high pressure just to the east. That could be a very nice pattern indeed, almost summery really, if that comes off with a warm sort of mainly dry type scenario, although it could be a little bit more unsettled to the west, and we could be at risk of some thundery showers coming up from the south, but that is quite a warm sort of setup. And then going through to the third and fourth weeks of May, well, look at this. Got the yellow colours here sitting more or less over the top of the country. Not a strong signal, but the idea is certainly there that we're going to keep high pressure more or less around the British Isles through the second half of May. So again, if that's right, we're looking at quite a lot of dry weather and pretty warm as well. So I think we are probably looking at a warmer than average May, certainly on the basis of this model. But there are other models, of course, so let's have a look at the CFS. This is from the website weatherweb.net. You can find a link to WeatherWeb on my links page. So have a look at the city temperature forecast for Birmingham first of all. So we start off with the 1st of May just here, and here's the 1st of June over here. So anything in between, but the lines here in between indicating where the temperatures are through May. And actually we see that this morning, this changes on a daily basis, but this morning the CFS model is seeing temperatures sort of flatlining around the middle teens through a great deal of May. It's not until we get to around the 23rd that we find a bit of a warm spell taking place. We do push the temperatures up for a few days, but then to around the 25th, 26th, we find the temperatures coming back down in towards the mid-teens again, and then they sort of flatline away into the very end of the month and into the start of June as well. And actually as we go into June, there is this suggestion there, but it could get really quite cool indeed. That really is quite a plunge that takes place there as we get through the first week of June. So that's not particularly good. We'll have a look at that and see why that's happening in a moment. But let's concentrate on May anyway. And the idea from the CFS model this morning, as I say, this does change on a daily basis, but the idea is that temperature's probably not all that exciting through May, to be honest. They sort of flatline. Do you get one push up around the 21st, 22nd of May, something like that, a bit of a plume perhaps coming up from the south for a few days, turning it warmer, but overall, well, we're probably not far from the average, actually, there. So I think that is a cooler setup that the CFS is seeing compared to a JMA. The JMA, if it came off, I would suspect would have another above average month, probably well above average, whereas if the CFS comes off, I think we are looking at a cooler month on that basis of that city forecast. Anyway, this is the 500 millibar height anomaly from this morning that goes with that temperature forecast for Birmingham. So we've got below average heights, low pressure sitting to the west of the northwest, high pressure setting up down around the south of the country, around Spain and Portugal, bridging into the central part of the Mediterranean. Jet stream running more or less through the country like that. So that's why the temperatures are sort of flatlining, because we've not got a ridge of high pressure sitting around the country. We're sort of seeing near normal type conditions with a near normal setup of low pressure to the northwest, high pressure down to the south and the southeast, with jet stream running through the country. Now, why does that drop in temperature happen in June? This is the 500 millibar height anomaly for June that the CFS model is seeing this morning. And then we've got high pressure out in the Atlantic, but we've got this trough of low pressure sitting over the top of the country, more or less over the top of England and Wales. We've got quite a lot of northern blocking up over Scandinavia and the North Pole, as I've explained in other videos. Northern blocking is never a particularly good signal in summer, because you tend to get this trough of low pressure that sets up underneath the blocking, and then of course, as I say, we've got that ridge of high pressure in the Atlantic. But jet stream is running around the top of that high pressure, and then it's coming southwards around that trough. So we're on the cool side of the jet under a trough of low pressure for June. So that's why the temperatures do appear to drop away on that temperature forecast graph for Birmingham. Now, I say these anomalies change day by day, so don't take that too seriously, but if it's right, it is a signal perhaps for a cooler type scenario as we go through to June. But May isn't anything particularly to write home about, and we've got a deviation there between the Japanese and the CFS in terms of the expected conditions for May. CFS is quite a bit cooler, actually near normal type conditions, whereas the JMA would be a very nice above average type month. Finally, have a look at the generic charts, taking us through the first few days of May. This is for Tuesday the 6th, actually next week. Low pressure coming in. Looks like I'm going to keep it mainly fine for the bank holiday, but it's a close run thing. And by Tuesday, next Tuesday, we will be bringing in low pressure off the Atlantic. As we move through next week, it stays relatively unsettled, to be honest, up to Thursday the 8th of May. Low pressure is still sort of in control. And then the high pressure begins to build up from the southwest, from the north, settling things down, warming things up as we go out towards towards the 10th day. This is Saturday the 10th of May. High pressure is dominating from the south and the southwest, certainly warming things up. And then as we go to day 10, Monday the 12th, high pressure is still there to the east with the low pressure out west. That is a very similar type scenario for that second week of May that the Japanese model was seeing for the second week of May, with the ridge to the east, the trough out to the west, and bringing up warm southerly winds. So the GFS is seeing that type of scenario that the Japanese was seeing, but we'll have to wait and see because it's 10 days away, so it may not come off. The ECMWF is more unsettled in its extended range this morning. This is how we start next week, Tuesday the 6th, bringing low pressure in off the Atlantic. As we go through next week, it stays relatively unsettled, bringing more low pressure through. We do try and build a ridge as we get through to Thursday the 8th. But it doesn't really come off on this morning's ECMWF. It's actually bringing in another low pressure on Friday the 9th, so it keeps it unsettled with rain, particularly in the north and the northwest. Go to day 10, Monday the 12th of May. Remember, the GFS is placing high pressure to the east at this point and a warm southerly flow coming in. The ECM is keeping it unsettled. Flat jet stream, black line here is the jet running across the Atlantic. It is flat, and we're bringing low pressure in off the Atlantic, keeping it pretty much unsettled. And that's the kind of scenario that the CFS is seeing as an anomaly for May. So we've got quite a bit of confusion here about what's going to happen as we go through May. We've got the Japanese model, and possibly backed up a little bit by the GFS, indicates that we could get warmer conditions returning after a more unsettled phase next week. Whereas the ECMWF probably goes with the CFS actually, and keeps it, or suggests that we probably keep it relatively unsettled or on the coolish side or near normal side in terms of temperatures through to the middle of the month. Now, quite what's going to happen, we're going to have to wait and see. I've got to come up with a forecast for May, which you're going to see, I think, on Bank Holiday Monday. So I'm going to have to come down off the fence one way or another. My suspicion, perhaps, is that we'll have another warm month, but we'll wait and see. I'll do the forecast on Monday, but that's how it's looking at the moment. Anyway, I hope you found the video interesting. We'll be doing the weekend forecast tomorrow, so come back for that. And that's all for now. Thanks for watching.